अरिहंत सिद्ध सुर उपाध्याय साधु सर्व अर्थ के प्रकाशी मांगलिक उपकारी है। तीन को स्वरूप जानी रागते भई जो भक्ति काय को नमाए स्तुति को उच्चारी है। धन्य धन्य तुम्ही से काज सब आज भयो कर जोरी बारंबार वंदना हमारी है। मंगल कल्याण सुख ऐसो हम चाहते हो मेरी ऐसी दशा जैसी तुम धारी है। हो मेरी ऐसी दशा जैसी तुम धारी है।
जय जिनेन्द्र।
Jai Jinendra. So today we will begin with 11 stages of the householder in the 5th scale of the spiritual development. Such a big name. In Hindi it is ज्ञानी श्रावक की नहीं पंचम गुणस्थान वर्ती ज्ञानी श्रावक की 11 प्रतिमाएं. So these are the stages or pratima. What is pratima? Pratima is the steps, right? Steps of what? Of renunciation. As you move ahead in the path of spiritual progress, you automatically leave certain things on the way. Like earlier, we didn't have the idea how to utilize our time. But now if somebody calls you for gossip, you said, okay, no, I have this to make up, I have this to make up. So we find all the excuses to get into this kind of studies. So by studying the scriptures only, we can have the right kind of thoughts and right kind of strategy for our life. Okay. So Jinwani teaches us all, and I think day before yesterday was Kundkund Acharya Dev's Padvi Arohan Divas. Means on that day, he was elected as an Acharya of the Sangh. So we always remember the Kalyanaks. Few days ago, 1 week ago maybe, there was this Saptami. Today is, I think today is 13th, right? So it was Saptami according to our Hindi calendar. So that Saptami was Parshvanath Bhagwan's Moksha Kalyanak Divas. So as we celebrate birthdays and anniversaries in our worldly life, similarly, our Panch Parmeshti has also certain good days, and that also we remember and celebrate. Similarly, these are the steps as we go ahead in the spiritual progress. We always have something to live and something to adapt, right? So we adapt all the good practices which are beneficial to us, and we leave all the harmful practices which are not beneficial to us. In fact, which kills our time, and we end up losing everything. Okay. So time is precious. Time cannot be, time is such a commodity that we cannot uh, retrack it, right? So the most opportunist, the most wise people, they uh, invest their time in meaningful uh, ventures. Okay. So similarly, our study of Parmagam honors course is a similar kind of thing, where we are learning every week 2 hours for 2 hours new techniques, how to overcome our day-to-day life problems and how to be happy in all situations. And I think that is the greatest of all teachings, how to be happy in all situations, whether it is beneficial or it is not beneficial. But you have to manage it in such a way that you are always calm, peaceful, happy. And what is the what is the basis of all these? The basis of all these is our own nature, right? The pure soul's nature. So if you are able to understand how the pure soul operates, what are the functions of a pure soul, and established yourself as a pure soul and not body or our outer uh, degrees that we have got, or whatever we are doing in our life, that is not our permanent, you can say, permanent abode. Our permanent abode is our pure soul, and that is what we are. So if we understand the nature of ourselves, then automatically happiness will flow and you will find ways to be happy in all kinds of situations. So our journey starts with the experience of the soul, self-realization. And here we are learning these steps one by one. So how to make our life more meaningful, interesting, and happy. And in this course only, this chapter, uh, this is the fourth chapter. Okay, fourth chapter, पंचम गुणस्थान वर्ती श्रावक और उसकी 11 प्रतिमाएं. The 11 stages of the holder in the fifth scale of spiritual development. It could also be said like 11 steps of renunciation of the enlightened householder, or the of the enlightened fifth stage householder. Okay, so fourth stage is also an enlightened householder, but fifth stage is the stage where you have renounced 2 levels of passions. So in all, there are 4 levels of passions. Anantanubandhi Kashai, intense passion causing infinite worldly existence. Second one is apratyakhana varan kashai, partial woe preventing passion. The third level is pratyakhana varan kashai, complete woe preventing passion. And the last one is sanjalan kashai, perfect conduct disturbing passion. Okay. So the first level, Anantanubandhi Kashai, intense passion causing infinite worldly existence. What does it do? It does not allow us to manifest right belief. Okay. So the path of liberation begins with right belief. And until and unless you achieve this right belief or the self-realization or the right knowledge, you are not into the path of liberation. You have not started yet. So the first step would be to get rid of delusion. And when you get rid of delusion, you manifest right belief. Okay. And then as you go along and practice more and more signs of discrimination, you are able to destroy the second level of passion. Means your purity keeps on increasing and your impurities keeps on decreasing. So that is an ongoing process, right? Right now also, we are going through that phenomena only, right? Every day, if you check yourself, your passions are gradually decreasing. In the similar situation, earlier you were scolding your kid or whatever in your office, small matter, you get angry. But now, you are able to manage it. You know, you are able to realize that it is not his fault. It is something because of the system. It is something because of his karma, XYZ. The end result is that your anger has subsided. Okay. So similarly, the enlightened soul also, who is in the fourth stage, and then he starts frequently practicing signs of discrimination, and that's how his purity increases, and he gets rid of the second level of passion. Okay, and with that second level of passion going off, he also manifests auspicious sentiment, which induces him or her to take partial vow. Okay, partial vow, not the complete vows like the monk has, but partial vow. And this is called the fifth stage. Now, moving ahead in the fifth stage, then this 11 steps comes in between. Okay, so initially you have 12 vows. Okay, and then this 11 steps of renunciation of the enlightened fifth stage householder. Such a big name, but you have to understand it. And the big name is there because we have to put in all conditions to define that step, to define that stage. Okay, so that is the fifth stage. Now, what a person who is in the fifth stage, how he develops this 11 steps one by one. Okay, so when he moves on to the second step, whatever levels were achieved in the first step, it carries on. It's not that it goes off and another stage comes up. It carries on, it continues from there only. So the second stage, the detachment has increased, okay, and attachment has decreased. The third stage, more detachment, the detachment will increase, the level will increase, and the attachment would decrease. So gradually he goes on to this 11 steps, and by the end of 11 steps, he is almost ready to become a monk. Okay. So basically, this is a process where you can become a monk if you are a male, or you can become an Arjika. Okay, Arjika if you are a female. So Arjika is a female monk. Okay, but beyond fifth stage, female cannot go, but male can still achieve sixth and seventh stage right now in this fifth era. Okay, but beyond seventh stage, nobody can go right now. Why? Because that is the limitation of the time that we are in. Okay, and we are so fortunate that we are in the fifth era now. But in the sixth era, there will not be any religion. There will not be any scripture. There will not be any Parmagam honors course. Nothing. We'll have nothing. Not even a single Sadharmi. So the Jain Dharma will totally be wiped out at the end of fifth era. And we are still in the beginning of the fifth era. 2600 some years have passed just. Okay, and as we move ahead, uh, with your experience, you can also relate to it that 25 years ago, life was so simple. And now the technology has advanced, but the complexities of life has increased because of social media, WhatsApp, and Insta, and whatnot you have. Okay. So you don't have time to to think something good. You are always into a trap. If you get out of one thing, you get into another, you get out into thing. Never you find a time to spend with yourself. Okay, and unless and until you understand yourself, you spend time with yourself, you will not able to make out your faults, your flaws. Okay, and if you are not able to make out your flaws, how you can remove them? Okay, so gradually, as you study the scriptures, this knowledge will impart in you a sense of awareness. Okay, you will be to realize where you are going wrong. Although you will still go wrong, but at least you will have the realization that unnecessarily I scolded that small kid. He was so innocent. That was not his fault. That is what he was being taught. So basically, if you are able to factor in all these things, automatically your anger will go gradually. It will become milder and milder, milder and milder. So what I'm trying to make you understand is that it is not a event. It's a gradual process. Okay. So these 11 steps are the gradual process to become a monk. Okay. And either you become a monk or even you can become a she monk or arjika. Okay, there also these 11 steps, similar steps are there. It is same for both male and female, 11 steps, but later on, of course, the male can further go and become a monk, but the uh, arjika, they cannot go beyond this fifth stage. Okay, but that is the limitation from the perspective of time, that is the limitation from the perspective of the gender. Okay, but as far as soul is concerned, soul is limitless, boundless. There is no restriction on the development of the soul. Okay, we may be in a householder stage right now, but our imagination, our thought process, uh, our understanding can elevate our life to a different level. Okay, so everything is in our hand, everything is in our control. We are not governed by any karma or external factors to act in a certain manner. We are independent to understand this religion, and we are independent to manifest this religion. Okay, so yesterday, not yesterday, before yesterday was our Independence Day, and our soul is independent. Okay, so the moment you establish yourself as the pure soul, you will find yourself to be independent. Okay, so just a few thoughts here and there makes your life so much blissful, so much happiness. You are stress free, you are worry free, you are tension free, and because of this kind of manifestation, your health will also improve. You will get rid of bodily diseases also, you know. So it's an comprehensive development. It is a holistic approach that we are taking, which is going to touch every sphere of our life. It is going to improve our relationship. It is going to improve our composure. It is going to improve our calmness. Everything. We are on a progressive mode, you know, and the worst is behind us. So we should be very happy and enthusiastically move ahead in this path of liberation. Okay, so these 11 steps are on similar scale. Okay, I've just given you a brief understanding how the steps will come one by one on its own, and what would be the changes happening in the manifestation of ourselves. Okay, so let's first read the chapter. The introduction by this has been adapted by Natak Samay Sar by Banarsi Das ji. Okay, but we have studied about Banarsi Das ji in Vitrag Vigyan 2, chapter 6, Sapt Vyasan, 7 addiction or 7 vices. Okay, so from there it is the same. Uh, it is the same life story of Banarsi Das ji. His life was of only 55 years, and in 55 years he married thrice and had 9 kids, and all the kids and the wife, all the 3 wives, all died, you know, gradually, one by one. So you can see what he had gone through his life, but still he was an enlightened soul. So he managed all these things, and he never allowed any depressive distress feeling in himself. And that is the outcome of his understanding. Okay, so we take enough motivation from his life. We are not having that much problem in our life. Our problems are very minor, but we make it, we elaborate it, you know. But if you read newspaper every day, there are so many news that if you put yourself in that position, what would you do? And this is how your strength increases, you know, your strength, your tolerance, everything increases. Just imagine yourself, put yourself in the footstep of those who are suffering, and every day you read in the newspaper that there was a air accident, there was a rape there, and there was a fraud there. Just imagine. how people are suffering from their own karmas, you know. But the thing is that all these examples are for us to understand that if we don't utilize our time in the right manner, if we don't put in efforts to understand the scriptures, then we are also in that league only. The difference is only that they are having some uh, uh, what I would say, some intense rise of karmas. Okay, and we are having mild rise of karmas. That is the difference, but it is not to be permanent. Okay, so we should make most of this opportunity, and we will understand from here in this chapter that how a householder, being a householder, being an enlightened householder, how he progresses in the path of liberation. And this understanding will help us to get ourselves ahead in this path of liberation. Okay, so don't feel yourself to be anything less than the enlightened soul, because you are in the right path, and the right belief is on the way, then omniscience knowledge is on the way, and liberation is also on the way. Okay, and it is just a matter of time that we manifest all these things. But having not manifested now also, we are in a very uh, elevated level, I would say. Okay, so we will see things from that perspective only. So beginning with this introduction, I am not repeating, just beginning the chapter. uh, I will make you co-host, Jia. You will share the textbook, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay, thank you. Just talk to Urja. She was supposed to join. Not now, but after the class.
Okay, I'll ask.
Okay. So one more thing, I will just check in how much to assignments have you completed with each at the end of the class, not now. So just give me an idea, because by 20th, latest by 20th, I have to submit all the marks. So this is the batch that is still pending, because many of you have not completed assignments. So tomorrow and day after tomorrow, I'm going to complete all these things. So just let me know what you have completed and what is left and how long they're going to take to complete those things. Just give me an outline, so I will manage everything. Page number 31. So I'll just give you an introduction. This whole chapter is based on the purity. First part is purity that the soul has manifested. Okay. The second part is the attachment that is there with that level of purity. Level of purity. Okay. So there is a certain level of purity. Along with that, there is a certain level of auspicious sentiment along with that purity. And because of that sentiment, there are some external activities happening in your life. So all these three, we are going to relate it together. In this, the first one is the pratima in the real sense. Okay, real pratima, real steps of renunciation. Okay, so that is the internal purity that we have manifested. The second level is the attachment that are there along with that purity, that level of purity. Okay, so that is a conventional, that is the conventional pratima. First one was what? Real pratima or nischay pratima. The second one is the conventional pratima or the conventional point of view, the level of renunciation. Okay. And the third one is the external activity conducive to that stage. Okay. And that is also called conventional pratima. So out of three, two are conventional Pratima, one is the real Pratima. Okay. So we will see at every stage what is the real Pratima or the purity, what is the level of purity. Then we will also see what is the level of attachment that is present. And the third is what kind of external activities will happen because of that level of attachment. So the last two are conventional and the first one is real. Okay. So this is the how we will relate in all the 11 steps. Okay. So with each step, the purity will keep on increasing. The attachments will keep on decreasing. And because of that decrease in attachment, the external activity will also be corresponding to that. Okay. So these changes will happen simultaneously at the three levels: the purity level, at the attachment level, and at the external activity level. Okay. Okay. So now, Pratibha ji, you start reading. Next page, not this page, 31, page number 31. Yeah. Yes. Thank you.
The 11 stages of householder in the fifth scale of the spiritual development. Acharya Umaswamy has said that the combination of right faith, right knowledge, and right conduct is the path of liberation. The man having right faith has developed correct belief, and accordingly, his knowledge has also become correct. Since he has developed partial stability of the soul, the path of liberation has begun. But this partial stability does not acquire the name of conduct as such. On this account, such a being is in the fourth stage of development and is called Avirati householder. The above householder of the fourth scale, by dint of his effort, develops endurance of the soul and reaches the fifth scale of his pursuit. That endurance is the partial conduct, and one having that is the householder in the fifth scale. Thus, the stability that grows and the falling degrees of attachment are the real conduct of this scale. That stability has automatic softness of passions, and that is the conventional scale or partial conduct of the fifth scale. The outward manifestation is in accordance with the real conduct. In fact, that is not even conventional conduct, but it is called as such due to accompaniment of softness of passion. Without the experience of the external sentient soul, the softness of passions alone and the outward activities are not the stage of development. The householder, having the purity of the fifth scale, alone can have these stages. With right faith and the matching stability of the fifth scale, one has the partial conduct and, and intrinsically that is stage of spiritual growth which is not possible without self experience. Pandit Banarasi Das has described the nature of the householder of the fourth scale in his Natak Samaysar, one who has developed faith in the correct nature of the soul, whose faith grows with time, and who has developed partial detachment is the householder of the fifth scale, that is Avirati Samyak Drishti. The gradual development of the spiritual experience in the absence of the second kind of passions, that is apratyak varnan, is the state of the fifth scale. The householder of the fourth scale has the spiritual experience of the bliss associated with it, but the effort of being one with it has been weak. As such, the experience does not appear of, of and on Is it off and on and stays only for short while? In this state, he does not have leanings for the observance of the conduct rules. However, the person in the fifth scale has, by his strong effort at stability in the absence of apratyakanavanan, passion, got such experience again and again and with swiftness, and it stays for a longer period, and detachment in the behavior pattern increases. It is due to this that his attachment towards this world, his body, and the pleasures of senses decreases, and he develops a natural indifference towards this. He has also got a tendency to observe demerits and observes certain rules of conduct by which a change in his external behavior is very visible. The Acharya have divided the state of this and internal and external purity in the different stages into 11 pratimas and have named the internal state of purity as the wave of consciousness and accompanying merits and demerits as the karma wave. The traveler on the path to liberation tries to increase the stability of the soul. Accordingly, detachment increases and some attachment remains. The external manifestation of such a state is called the conventional conduct. He understands and measures the stability, realizing his background and recognizing the rise and decrease of passions. He is not disturbed by the presence of the element of attachment and aversion, but tries his best to minimize and control them and thus develop the desired stability. He knows that attachment and aversions are present and that such a state is due to his own weakness. These are the blemishes of his scale of development, and he tries to remove them by his inner force. It is possible for a person to have softness of passions and consequent external activities without real faith, consciousness, and stability, but it is not possible for a man following a path of development to have acquired the spiritual experience of that stage and yet to have such attachments and aversions and outside activities are not befitting in these stages. This is the real and the conventional viewpoint of this stage. Now we take up the nature of these different stages.
Stop. So this was the introduction. Now the 11 stages will come. And as you have seen in the introduction, that the Nischay Pratima or the real conduct of this scale is the intrinsic stability or the purity that has been developed. Okay. So that was the first part. The second part is the level of attachment. Okay. Although the attachments are falling, decreasing, but since all the attachments is not wiped off, so some have been wiped off and some are still there. So the level of attachment uh, is present uh, corresponding to the purity that you have. Okay, that is the conventional conduct. And accordingly the external activities. Okay, here it is written the outward manifestation, but it is the external activities is in accordance with that real conduct and the conventional conduct. And that external activity is also called or referred as conventional conduct. Okay. So out of three, two are conventional conduct. One is the real conduct. So real conduct will always be the level of purity or the stability that has been established already. Okay. So who will have this kind of 11 steps? The person, the householder who is in the fifth stage. Okay. Fourth stage is also an enlightened householder, but the stability is very less. Okay. But in the fifth stage, the stability increases. Okay. Because the frequency of practicing discriminative knowledge has increased. Okay. So he is having the purity of the fifth stage. Along with that, attachment has decreased, but still some attachment remains. And corresponding to that, the external activities also keeps on changing. Okay. So this is the, in short, what has been explained here. The last word in the, on page number 31, it is written, last line, it is written, the householder of the fifth scale. So it should not be fifth scale, it should be fourth scale. Avirat Samyak Drashti. Okay, Avirat means one who has not manifested woes in his life. So he is non-woe. Okay, he is not, so he is on the fourth stage. There is a typing mistake, just correct it. Okay, fourth scale, Avirat Samyak Drashti. Now this fellow only, with more practice of discriminative knowledge, he will get rid of the second level of passions, apratyakhana varana kasai, and that is the time that he attains fifth stage. Okay. So now in the fifth stage, initially there will be 12 woes of a householder, Anuvrat, 12 Anuvrat. Okay. That we have already read in Vitrag Vigyan 3. Okay. And then, of course, we have after that 12 woes, we have this 11 steps. Okay. So both are in the fifth stage, but initially the woes are there. And what is the difference between these woes and this 11 steps is the level of purity. Okay. So as the purity increases, both are on the fifth stage, but one is at a lower stage. The Pratima one is at a higher stage. So as your purity increases, even in 11 steps, you go step by step. Okay. So the one who is in the first step and one who is in the 11th step, there is a difference of hell and heaven. Okay. Jameen Asman ka farak hai. But still both are in the fifth stage. So this is how the spiritual stages of development has been developed. And there are only 14 stages. But in each stage, you will find a variety of levels. Okay. But all is considered at one level. So both are in the fifth stage. Now this householder, uh, as he practices more descriptive knowledge, he gets ahead in the path of liberation, and his attachment keeps on decreasing, his purity keeps on increasing, and accordingly, the external activities also keep on changing for the better. Okay. So he gathers enough strength to abjure demerits and observe certain rules of conduct, and this certain rules of conduct is nothing but this 11 steps. What else? Yeah. So this one is very important. Page number 32, middle paragraph. The Acharya have divided the state of this internal and external purity in the different stages into 11 pratimas. Okay. And have named the internal state of purity as the wave of consciousness. Now, what is this wave of consciousness? Anybody can say what is this wave of consciousness in Hindi? Yeah.
Is it the level of purity?
No, it is Gyan Dhara. Wave of
Yes.
consciousness is Gyan Dhara. So this Gyan Dhara is a function of the soul. Okay. And simultaneously, and the accompanying merits and demerits as the karma wave. So karma wave is karma dhara. So both waves are going parallel. Okay. Karma dhara is a function of the karma, and Gyan dhara is a function of the soul. Gyandhara means wave of consciousness. Now both are going parallelly. Okay. So there is something happening in the Gyandhara. Correspondingly, there is something happening in the Karmadhara. And both are independent of one another, but still there is a cause and effect relationship. Okay. Nimit nemitik sambandh. Karma is nimit and the manifestation in the soul is nemitik. Okay. So they have this relationship of cause and effect between them, but otherwise both are independent. Okay. So when two independent substances have a relationship, we call it as a cause and effect relationship. Okay. Instrumental
Sir, the
cause.
cause is karma and the effect is manifestation in the soul, right?
Yes, yes.
Okay,
Karma
sir.
is instrumental cause, and whatever has happening in the soul is the principal cause, upadan, and that is nimit. Okay, principal cause is upadan, and instrumental cause is the nimit. We are going to study nimit upadan in a very, very elaborate way in this sem only in Tattvagyan part 2. Okay. So we have one chapter on Tattvagyan part 2 on instrumental cause and principal cause. And additionally, we have a self-study book of Nimit Upadan. Okay. And that is very important. So we are going to cover that also. Okay. So that's why uh, uh, we will have that understanding in detail. Now, one more very important thing that I would like you to notice, uh, the next paragraph itself, middle line. He understands and measures the stability. Who understands? The soul, who is in the fifth stage of spiritual development, he understands and measures the stability, the level of stability or the level of purity, pure manifestation. Okay. Realizing his background. Okay. And recognizing the rise and decrease of passion. Okay. So he is aware of the level of purity. He is also aware of the attachment that is prevailing. Okay. And he is also aware of the corresponding external activity. All three things, the enlightened souls knows it very clearly. And his endeavor is to increase the purity, decrease the attachment, and correspondingly the activities will also improve. He is not disturbed. Now, this is very interesting. Everybody would relate to this, and I'll give you an example also. He is not disturbed by the presence of the element of attachment and aversion. Now, how does this sound? He is not disturbed. He is not disturbed by the presence of the element of attachment and aversion. Now, my question is why? Why is not disturbed? Hemali, you try.
So, because he is engrossed in his soul.
No,
Sir, because it is the fourth stage,
no, this fellow is in fifth stage now.
Fifth stage.
then
Yeah.
because of the fifth stage, right?
Huh?
So, because of the stability of the soul. The
Oh,
stability of.
oh, no. He's not disturbed because he understands these 11 steps. And he knows that in the fifth stage, this level of purity will always be there. And along with that, this level of attachment will also be there. So he's not disturbed because he knows that it is quite ordinary. Now, I'll give you an example. You have a 2 months kid in your house, okay? And some guest of yours is coming to see him, and he takes him in his lap and he starts urinating. Will that guest be angry?
No.
Why?
Because the guest knows that that is what the babies do sometimes.
So same level apply here. He knows the different stages of spiritual development and on which stage, what is the level of purity, and along with that, what will be the level of attachment. So if some things happen here and there, he is not disturbed because he knows this is a part and parcel of the fifth stage. This is a part and parcel of the fourth stage. This is a part and parcel of the first stage. This is a part and parcel of the sixth, seventh stage. So he is not disturbed. He will only be disturbed if something goes drastically wrong and he is in the fourth stage and he does activity of the first stage. Then of course he will be disturbed because his stage has fallen down. He is now in the first stage. So then he will again bounce back. Okay, he will make efforts to bounce back. But so long it is in, yeah.
Sorry, sir. No, sir. I'll ask you later, sir.
Okay. So long it is in accordance with the stage that he is quite comfortable. Yeah, यहाँ तो होता ही है. Now initially कोई start करेगा driving, so it is obvious कि sometimes you will do some accident or sometimes you will touch the divider. You know, sometimes you will lose control initially. But as you practice and progress, then you will quite comfortable. Then you are not worried कि अभी इधर ये हो जाएगा, that हो जाएगा, कुछ नहीं. Now you are absolutely cool. So this is the level that he understands, and because of that only he is not disturbed. So this is very important. You just understand it, and it applies to everyone's life. It applies to everyone's life, and there is a universal law that not a single manifestation will be against the stage that you are in. So whatever is happened is according to your stage only. So there is nothing to worry in any way. Okay. So this understanding will help you to progress in your spiritual path. Otherwise you will get depressed. That why such things has happened to me? Because you are in that stage. Just accept it. Accept it. That's all. So if you start accepting, then there is no problem. But if you get saddened by those sentiments, then you will be the sufferer, you know. So you have to understand all these things, said what happens at what levels. He is not disturbed by the presence of the element of attachment and aversion, but tries his best to minimize and control them, and thus develop the desired stability. So he has in his mind that this is not going to remain for long because of my weakness, okay, that I'm not able to stabilize myself in the self. And that's why these attachments and aversions are coming in between, okay, because of my weakness. It is not because of the karma, okay. He's not blaming the karma, but he is accepting his own weakness. And how that weakness will go away?
Slowly.
How will go away, Madhuji?
Slowly practice.
Huh?
Slowly practicing, sir. Slowly
Slowly
practicing.
practicing. You have only one way. Practice distinctive knowledge only, and that is also again depends on the level of decision-making power that you have. You know, your decision-making power is very important. It's important in every phase of life. Okay. So if you are wise enough to take a decision, then you will always be in a happy space. Okay. So he tries to minimize and control them and thus develop the desired stability. He knows that attachments and aversions are present and that such a state is due to his own weakness. You know, initial stage, the weakness is still there and not because of the karma. That is quite aware. He is not blaming the karma. क्या करें ऐसा क्यों हुआ? So because of karma, because there is a rise of karma. He doesn't say that way. He says that it is because of my own weakness. I'm still prone to this passions, you know. I'm not able to control them. I'm not able to move away from them. Okay. So that is his weakness. But if you consider the case of a monk, even in times of inflictions, they are not disturbed because they have done practices and they have developed that level. So inflictions are there, upsarg, parisa are there, but Muniraj is happy in his space. He's concentrated on the self, he's absorbing, he is enjoying eternal bliss, you know, and externally some animal is eating his body, but he is not disturbed. the other day we read the story of Panch Pandava. So they were engrossed in their self, and Duryodhan's descendant. He was just passing through the sky, and he saw that these 5 Pandavas are into meditation mode, and they are without any uh, weapons with them. So he decided to inflict pain on them. Okay, so he took this jewelry of iron and heat them up, and then he put those jewelry in the head of these 5 Pandavas, and out of 5, 3 remained engrossed in the self. It is not that they were not aware of the infliction happening on them. They were aware, but they never changed their direction. They never changed their meditation. Okay, and they remain engrossed in self, and they got liberated. And the younger two, Nakul and Sadev, they thought that what would have happened to the elder brothers. Just that thought, that auspicious thought of caring the elders, led them to heavenly being life of 33 sagars. Such a huge life. They are still in heaven, you know. So just a small manifestation, that also auspicious manifestation, lead them to a 33 sagar life in heavenly being. You can just imagine. So this person knows that it is because of my weakness, not because of the karma. These are the blemishes of his scale of development. Okay. So the stage in which he's there are some blemishes which are unavoidable. And he's aware of that. So he never get disturbed. And he tries to remove them by his inner force. Okay. Inner force means inner force of stability. Okay. So this is the way out. Now the last paragraph, which is very important, I would like to repeat it. It is possible for a person to have softness of passion and consequent external activities without real faith. It could be possible that without real faith also, there are people who are observing the conduct of these 11 steps. Okay. But he has still not developed the right faith. He has only adopted the external activities. Okay. So that could be possible. He has not, it is possible for a person to have softness of passions, means mildness of passions, and consequent external activities without real faith, real knowledge, and real conduct, that is stability. But now the important part. It is not possible for a man following the path of development to have acquired the spiritual experience. Spiritual experience is spiritual, blissful experience. He is enjoying that level of that stage. And yet, to have such attachment and aversion and outside activities as are not befitting in these stages. So he will have corresponding external activity befitting to the stage in which he is. It is not that he has already manifested the, he has got rid of 2 levels of passion and he has attained the 5th stage, and still there are activities which is like the 4th stage. It will not never happen. So if you have manifested the internal purity of that stage, the external activities will be also of that level. This is a rule. Okay. But the other way it is possible that you may not have right faith, you may not have internal purity, but you can still observe the external activities and the conduct. So that is quite possible, but it is not possible that you have already developed a purity of the 5th stage and this external activities are not according to that. That will never happen. But it is not possible for a man following the path of development to have acquired the spiritual blissful experience of that stage and yet to have such attachment and aversion and outside external activities as are not befitting in this stage. This is the real and the conventional point of these stages. So you add one word. This is the balance. Okay. This is the balance of real and conventional point of these stages. So it is always balanced. Okay. Those who are enlightened soul are those people only who have a balance. Now, balance could be of real and conventional view. Balance could be of 4 expositions. Okay. So these are the balance. Okay. So
Where excuse me,
everyone,
sir. Where exactly we have to add? Where exactly we have to
this
add?
is the, there you add balance of real and the conventional viewpoint of these stages. You're getting it?
This is the balance.
This is the balance of real and the conventional viewpoint of
Yes.
the stages. Okay. So this
Yes.
balance is very important. And we as a seeker, okay, we are all after this balance only. If you are able to strike a balance in every spheres of your life, you will always be happy. You must have observed in your corporate level or at a household level, whatever experience you have, that a person who is a balanced one, he is finding a balance everywhere and he is really enjoying the life. Okay. So you have to balance your relationship, you have to balance your job, you have to balance your house, you have to balance your family life, everything. If you are balanced, then you will really enjoy your life. So this is the balance that we are all seeking, and this will come with understanding. Okay. So as you develop this understanding, as you go ahead, your wisdom will increase and you will able to balance the between the real and conventional point of view. You will balance between the 4 expositions. All this will come automatically. Okay. Now we are taking up this 11 steps one by one. So first one is Darshan Pratima. In English, you can write it down each name. Step of right belief. Darshan is right belief and Pratima is step. So step of right belief. Now, Hemali, you read this.
Observance of the 8 fundamental rules and renunciation of the 7 addictions as a matter of course with internal purity and softness of passions are the characteristics of this Pratima. The 8 fundamental rules are renunciation of wine, meat, honey, and the 5 Udambar fruits. The 7 addictions are gambling, meat eating, drinking, prostitution, hunting, theft, and indulgence in other women. These addictions have to be shunned totally. Right faith without any blemish is the purity of the attribute of faith. The purity of behavior with a background of right faith is real darshan pratima, and the concurrent natural softness of passions and external behavior is conventional darshan pratima. According to Acharya Samant Bhadra, 5 anuvrats are also observed in darshan pratima. Pandit Jayachandji Chabra clarifies this as below. Thanks. Some sacred books hold that 8 fundamentals are the observance of 5 anuvrats and abjuring wine, meat, honey. This does not mean any contradiction. The difference is only relative. Abjuring wine, meat, and honey, and the 5 Udambar fruits means that the person holding this pratima does not eat those things which have moving creatures and does not kill or injure moving creatures for offering to gods or for purposes of medicine. This covers the anuvrat of non-violence and renouncing untruth, theft, and indulgence in women covers 7 addictions. Abjurement of strong greed has been covered by limiting possessions. Thus, all the 5 anuvrats are covered. Since the mistakes in observance of these are not avoided, the person does not hold the title of Anuvrat. However, considering his observances, he is an Anuvrati, as it is included in partial householder's conduct.
Stop. Stop. Okay. So first understand this. If you understand this first one, you will understand all the things. Okay. So first one is the purity level. Okay. The purity level. The purity of behavior with the background of right faith is real darshan pratima. Okay. So the level of stability or the purity is the real darshan pratima, and the concurrent, that means simultaneous, natural softness of passions. Softness means mildness. Okay. Softness of passion and external behavior is conventional darshan pratima. Understood? Okay. So there are two components here. First of all, he should follow that 8 fundamental rules, Ashtamul Gun, wherein 3 are M, Mad, Mas, Madhu. These 3 and the 5 Udambar fruits. Okay. So this constitute the 8 Mulgun, Ashtamulgun, very basic for every Jains. Okay. And of course, the 7 addictions, 7 vices that we have already studied. So if you are just observing these 2 rules, observing the 8 fundamental rules, and you are uh, renouncing these 7 addictions, you are manifesting darshan pratima. Okay. So right faith without any blemish is the purity of the attribute of the faith. The purity of behavior with the background of right faith is real darshan pratima, and the concurrent natural softness of passions and external activity or behavior is conventional darshan pratima. Now this replacing this 8, out of this 8, replacing this 5 Udambar Fal with 5 Anuvrats. Okay. So Ahimsa Anuvrat, Satya Anuvrat, Acharya Anuvrat, then Brahmacharya Anuvrat, and Parigraha Pariman Vrat. Okay. So these are the 5 Anuvrats. Now these 5 Anuvrats also, if you consider, then see.
So your voice is breaking.
Pardon?
Your voice is breaking, sir.
My voice is breaking. Everyone
Yeah.
is.
No, I can hear it clearly.
No, I can hear you clearly, sir.
Yes, sir, I can hear
Okay.
you clearly.
So you must be
Okay.
having a problem. Okay.
Yeah, yeah.
No
Got
problem.
it. Got it.
Thanks for informing. If it could have been a problem, could have been at my end, I would have really done it something.
Okay.
But
So
okay.
constantly it's doing, so it's mine only. Okay.
Okay, no problem. So this 5 Anuvrats and the 5 Udambar Fal, these means there is only there is no contradiction. It is just the different kinds of perspective that is into play. So abjuring wine, meat, and honey and the 5 Udambar fruit means that the person holding this prasima does not eat those things which have moving creatures. मूविंग क्रिएचर्स मीन्स त्रस जीव जिसमें होते हैं वो नहीं खाते, एंड डज नॉट किल और इंजर मूविंग क्रिएचर्स फॉर ऑफरिंग टू गॉड्स और फॉर पर्पस ऑफ मेडिसिन. ओके. So this covers the anuvrat of non-violence. Okay. So first one is done, non-violence, because of this 5 Udambar Fal. Okay. And abjuring wine, meat, and honey. And renouncing untruth, theft, and indulgence in women cover 7 addictions. So the 7 addictions, it is covered here in this anuvrats also. So the this covers the anuvrat of non-violence, and renouncing untruth, theft, indulgence in women cover 7 addictions. Okay. Abjuring of strong greed, has been covered by limiting possession, parigraha, pariman, vrat. So thus all the 5 pranutrats are covered. So it can be expressed in this way, that follow the rules of 8 fundamentals, okay, and all the uh, observe the 8 fundamental rules, or 8 fundamental rules and 7 addictions, okay, or it could be follow the 5 anuvrats. Both are the same thing, just there is a difference in perspective. Since the mistake in observance of these are not avoided, the person does not hold the title of Anuvrat. However, considering his observances, he is an Anuvrati, as it is included in partial householder's conduct. Okay. So this is Darshan Pratima. Now coming on to the Vrat Pratima and Samaik Pratima. We will read both together, small one. Madhuji.
Yes, sir. 2. Prat Pratima. The purity and detachment of the first Pratima increase in intensity in the second Pratima, where the lower type of attachments are not found, and so the follower treats these as rules of life. The purity and behavior befitting the second Pratima is the real Pratima, and the 12 observances by way of softness of passions are conventional Pratima. Third, Sa- Samay Pratima. By virtue of greater steadiness in spiritual inclinations, the person of the third Pratima holds equanimity of mind and body, leaning towards one soul, contemplates on the soul supreme thrice a day for 48 minutes at least, each time, and treats friends and foes as equal, leaving inauspicious reflections and retaining all the attention in the supreme glory of the spirit. This householder, having greater experience of the bliss of the spirit, externally develops greater detachment. Only sitting in loneliness for 48 minutes and reciting certain verses does not mean real contemplation, which, in fact, is the developed equilibrium and sentience qualities. Sentience qualities.
Hmm.
4.
So no, that's 2 only. Stop here. Vrat Pratima. Vrat Pratima in English is step of accepting of woes. Step of accepting of woes. So again, the purity and detachment. Detachment is vitrata. Okay. The purity and detachment of the first Pratima increase in intensity. So now with every step, we will be increasing the intensity in the second Pratima, where lower type of attachments are not found. And so the follower treats these as rules of life. The purity and behavior befitting the second Pratima is the real Pratima, the purity and behavior. And the 12 observances by way of softness or passions are conventional Pratima. Okay. So 12 observances are the 12 woes and the softness of passions. These both the things are conventional Pratima. Similar in Samaik Pratima, it is called step of meditation, or alternately it is called step of equanimity. Okay. Samaik Pratima. By virtue of greater steadiness in spiritual inclination, the person of the third Pratima holds equanimity of mind and body, leaning towards one's own soul, contemplates on the soul supreme thrice a day, okay, for 48 minutes at least each time, and treats friends and foes as equal, leaving inauspicious reflections and retaining all the attention in the supreme glory of the spirit. Okay. This householder, having greater experience of the bliss of the spirit, externally develops greater detachment. So his detachment is increasing, greater is developing that detachment. Only sitting in loneliness and for 48 minutes and reciting certain verses does not mean real contemplation. So contemplations here means samaik. Okay, contemplation means samaik. So, or the meditation. So real contemplation would be the meditation, which in fact is the developed equilibrium and sentience qualities. Okay, so this is the Samaik Pratima. So fifth stage householder, in the third step, he, without any blemishes, he gets into this meditation thrice a day. There is a rule, thrice a day. So in the morning he does one, in the afternoon he does one, and in the evening he does one. He sits in one posture for 48 minutes. And usually at this level, at the fifth stage level, it is more of a contemplation. Okay, 12 reflections, 12 contemplations. He's thinking on those lines, and he's thinking about his shortcomings or the flaws that he has, and he also thinks how to improve on it. Okay, so everything this is happening in this Samaik Pratima, and he forms a habit. And in between, he always tries to concentrate on the self, but because of the auspicious sentiment, he is not able to concentrate very much, but still he always tries. Okay, but externally he is very calm and peaceful in that posture, and he's trying to practice discriminative knowledge in his thoughts. Now fourth, fifth, sixth, three
Sir,
together.
can you
Uh,
just a minute, sir? Sir, can you just tell the you for 12 you said 12 contemplations, and he observes, that is. So what are they? 12 contemplations.
12
He
contemplations are
observes.
12 bhavna. 12 contemplations are 12 bhavna.
Hmm. When he follows his flaws, he observes rather,
He
and then
observes
observance
how to
and
get
observance.
rid of these flaws and everything.
Yeah, and observance of one more thing you said, sir. 12 contemplations, his flaws, observance of. Um,
I also don't remember. You just check it on the recording. Okay.
सर तो ये
oh,
व्रत
oh,
प्रतिमा जो है ये क्या फास्ट है? व्रत प्रतिमा,
Pardon?
व्रत प्रतिमा का क्या मतलब है? फास्ट रखना?
नहीं, वो 12 व्रत है ना.
ओके,
But
accepting all.
Bharat, initially it were with blemishes, but when he gets at this level, of Pratima level, then it is without blemishes. Atichar rahit. पहले दोष लग रहे थे, अतिचार लग रहे थे. There were blemishes, there were faults in his vrat. Now the vows are without any blemishes, and this is vrat pratima. So there is a difference between those vrat and vrat pratima. Vrat pratima is without blemishes, and vrat are with blemishes. That is the difference. So all these pratimas are without blemishes. So already those blemishes was the phase when he was into 12 woes. Now he is getting ahead. So those blemishes are not there. Okay. So now the fourth one, Prosad Upvas Pratima, step of fasting. Okay. Prosad Upvas. Upvas means fasting. So this is a step of fasting. And the next one is Sachit Tyag Pratima. You write it down, it's a very big name. Steps of renouncing food with life. Steps of renouncing food with life. Then there is another alternate name,
सर
that is
रिनाउंसिंग फूड.
the steps of renouncing food with life. Sachit त्याग. मतलब ऐसी चीज नहीं खाते हैं कि जिसमें जीव होने की.
Jan.
हाँ. Okay. So there is another name for that. Abstinence from consuming foods that have life or that can grow if sown. अगर उसको बो देंगे ना तो उसमें से उसमें जीव उत्पन्न हो जाता है।
Plant.
हाँ, प्लांट। तो एब्स्टिनेंस from consuming foods that have life or can grow if sown. Okay, so he doesn't take those kind of food. The next one is Diva Maithun Tyag Pratima. Step of abandoning daytime sexual pleasures. Step of abandoning daytime sexual pleasures. Another name for that is step of celibacy during the day or non-consumption of food at night, or non-consumption of food at night. So different author have given different name. So Banarsi Das ji has given this name Diva Maithun Tyag Pratima, but Acharya Samantbhadra has given this name as Ratri Bhukti Tyag Pratima. That means non-consumption of food at night. Okay, so there are two names to this. So these three we will read first and then I will explain. So first one is Prasad Uppas Pratima, and Arunji, you read.
Sure, sir. When the state of contemplation continues at least for 12 hours and may last for 24 hours, the person is said to be observing the fourth Prashadopavas Pratima. The person in this stage is one with the soul for a greater period than that of the previous one, and consequently, he observes fast at least on every 8th and 14th day of the month, abjuring all sinful activities. His attachment towards world, body, and pleasures has become less, and as such he resolves to fast, abandoning food, etc. The fast on these 4 days does not suffice for the growth of this stage, and fast is not abjuring food only. The real fast is abandoning passion, pleasures of senses, and food. The rest is starvation. Next, also, sir,
Yeah, 5 and 6.
Sachita,
Hmm.
Sachita Tyag Pratima. Leaning towards the soul in the fifth stage are stronger than in the fourth stage. Attachments are decreasing gradually. He He does need food to keep the body and soul together, but abundance food that means injury or destruction of living creatures and takes boiled water. The intrinsic purity of the fifth stage is the real Pratima, while the merit and softness of passions associated with it and abundant food entailing killing of creatures is the conventional observance thereof. Vegetables having the capacity to grow again are included in Sachita having life. Sixth, Divametun Tyag Pratima. The purity necessary for the development in this stage is the real sixth Pratima, while external renunciation is the conventional one. In the second Pratima, the follower had resolved to be satisfied in his spouse only. Now the attachment grows still less, and he observes celibacy on all the days and nights of the 8th and 14th days of the month and resolves not to entertain such evil thoughts. Acharya Samant Bhadr has called this Pratima as Ratri Bhukti Tyag Pratima also. Even an ordinary householder does not take his meal during the night, but the follower in this stage stops taking all the four kinds of food himself, does not ask others to do so, and does not give his assent for such indulgence. So,
Stop.
in all these things,
Stop.
like,
Stop.
they are talking about the
Hmm.
2 days, the 8th and the 14th day. So, what is the special? What is so special about these 2 days?
So according to cosmology, these 2 days, like every 8th and the 14th of every fortnight. So every fortnight means in a month, this will be the 4 days. 8th of first fortnight, 14th of first fortnight, and 8th of second fortnight, and 14th of second fortnight. So we have this Shukla Paksh and Krishna Paksh, right? In Hindi, we have this 15
Right.
days Shukla Paksh and then is Krishna Paksh. So both Ashtami and Chaudas has to be observed, okay? So these are
Sir, but then isn't it, I mean, like, sir, isn't it delusion?
No, it is not a delusion. It is a Charnan Yog. It's our Charnan Yog that they have considered these days as to be special because on these days, the level of violence increases. Okay. So if you are not eating on those days, then automatically you have observed this woes, that way. So this Proshod Upvas Patima is fasting. Minimum is 12 hours, maximum is 24 hours. And so usually it starts with these 4 days, 8th and 14th day of the fortnight, okay? Abjuring all sinful activities. So on these days, he is into fasting and he has no other thing to do on that day. So he has absorbed all the sinful activities and on the contrary, he is spending those time in concentrating on himself. His attachment towards world, body and pleasures, sansar, sarir and bhog, so virakt ho gaya. His attachment towards world, body and pleasures have become less, and as such, he resolves to fast, abandoning foods, etc. Okay. The fast on these 4 days does not suffice for the growth of this stage, and fast is not abjuring food only. The real fast is abandoning passions. Okay. Abandoning passion in the first stage. The second stage is the sensual pleasures. So abandoning pleasures of senses. And the third level is the food, abandoning the food. And we consider upvas as just abandoning food. But the other two are so important. Abandoning passion. So how you can abandon passion? By concentrating on the self. Okay. By manifesting the pure modification. Okay. Shuddhopyog. So abandoning passion is the first step. Abandoning senses of pleasure in the second step. And then the food comes in the third stage. But we ignore the first two and just we don't take food and we believe ourselves that we are fasting and we are doing religion. So the rest
Sir,
is
but then how do we focus on the self?
so like you don't
What
have
do
any
you mean
other
by
activities
focus
to
on
do.
the self?
Now you don't have to eat today, right? So
Right.
you don't have to eat, so you don't have to cook also, right?
Correct.
And then you have all the time in the world. Your eating time is saved. If you are not eating, then also the other activities also stop. So on these days, you are basically trying to focus on yourself. So
Sir, what does this focus on yourself mean? Like, where do I focus? What do you mean by focus on yourself?
first you have to identify the soul. Okay, and where is this soul? You are able to identify that soul in your own knowledge modification. नॉलेज मॉडिफिकेशन ओके अपनी ही ज्ञान पर्याय में अपने आत्मा को पहचानो ओके सो वंस यू आइडेंटिफाई योर सोल देन फोकस ऑन इट unless and until you identify how you will focus. So first step would be to identifying the soul. That has already been done in the 4th stage. Okay. Now he is in the 5th stage. So now he wants to concentrate on the self more because the more the concentration on the self, the more level of bliss. उतना ही उसको ज्यादा आनंद आ रहा है. So it's a for our own benefit he's doing. So this is Prasad Upvas. Now the next is Sachit Tyag Pradima. Leaning towards the soul in the 5th stage are stronger than in the 4th stage. So it is getting stronger and stronger. Attachments are decreasing gradually. He does not need food to keep the body and soul together, but abundance food that means injury or destruction of living creatures. Okay. Sachit Bhojan, like the foods that causes the injury or destruction of living creatures, he abandons those and takes boiled water Why boiled water? Because when you heat up the water to a certain level, it is devoid of all the small uh, insects or whatever it is there in the water.
But when you boil the water, isn't it हिंसा क्योंकि जो जीव थे उसके अंदर वो तो मर गए,
But before boiling the water, we always filter it, no? So when we
right?
filter it, we are saving those things. And और वो filter, it is not only filtering the water, उसकी जिनवानी करनी होती है. उसको आपका पानी जैसे कुएं में भर से आया तो वो वापस कुएं में जाने चाहिए वो जीव. Okay, ideally. But like in cities where we live, we don't have the well, traditional well. So we fetch water from our tap, that municipal tap. So we put a filter cloth on that tap. And after our all the water has been done with, then we remove that filter cloth and then put some water on it. Okay. So whatever the uh, small insect that has been accumulated on the filter cloth, and those are so small, one sensed being, we cannot identify by our eyes. Okay. But it is still there. And that also goes away. And then you boil the water. So the water is free of now germs or insects. And if you boiled it up to say, we put on induction and we set the timer at 28 minutes, considering our that utensil that we use. Okay. So after 28 minutes, it's exactly the bubbles start coming out. Okay. And that is the time you consider it to be boiled. And that now that validity of that water will remain for 24 hours. How many? 24 hours. Okay. Then there is another way, like you filter the water and then put loving in it. Then it is for 6 hours. The validity is 6 hours. And if you don't put anything, then the validity is 48 minutes. So you filter the water, it is 48 minutes. You put a loving in it, loving, or you can also put in variadi, variadi, that also if you put in, the color changes. So the validity increases to 6 hours. And if you boil it, then it is 24 hours. So these are the three observances that we can do depending on our requirement of water. Okay. So we do it in the evening, every day evening in the last half an hour we do it. So we set on the induction cooker and it is set for 28 minutes. So after 28 minutes, it automatically stops, and that water we can use next day till the same 24 hours. So we do it around 6. So up to 6:30 it finishes. So next day we again finish our everything on by 6:30. So that water is still there valid. Okay. And you filter that much water only, that much you are consuming. Okay. Never do it extra, because extra means extra heating and that water also gets spoiled. So this is how you have to create awareness for yourself. The idea is to uh, practice non-violence. Okay. So this is we were discussing the second one, that is Sachi Tyag Pratima. Okay. So vegetables having the capacity to grow again are included in Sachit. So we don't consume those vegetables which have a capacity to grow. Okay. So you must have observed that we eat those chana, भिगो के रखते हैं ना chana. So if we keep it overnight, तो उसमें वो एक white आ जाता है ना. क्या बोलते हैं उसको मधु जी?
अंकुर अंकुर
हाँ,
Sir,
अंकुर आ
अंकुर
जाता है, right.
प्लूम्यूल
हाँ,
स्प्राउट्स
वो फिर सचित हो गया. That is not to be consumed. Okay. So ये सब आप you have to observe all this. Okay. The next is Diva Maithun Tyag Pratima, steps of abandoning daytime sexual pleasure, and the second alternate name is step of non-consumption of food at night. So it is self-explained. So nothing new. One thing is there, that the third line, now the attachment grows still less and he observes celibacy. Now this celibacy, it it is ninefold enforcement. Okay. Now this, what are these ninefold enforcement? It is written in Hindi book, page number 26. You can refer. It is not written in English book, but I'll just read the Hindi one. नौ बार से ब्रह्मचर्य पालन. So first one is स्त्रियों के समागम में न रहना. Okay. Second one is राग भरी दृष्टि से न देखना. I will do one thing. I will share it. Okay. I will share this script. So you just read it and observe it. So Diva Maithun Tyag Pratima. Now the other name is like Ratri Bhukti Tyag Pratima. So this Acharya Samanbhadra has called this six Pratima. He has given a different name. Ratri Bhukti Tyag Pratima. So then the argument was there that ordinary householder also does not take meal at night. So this is the fifth stage. What is the difference? The difference is that the follower in this stage stops taking all the four kinds of food himself. So what are these four kinds? You know, ahar, then the water is also there. Then this soap is also there, and one more is there. So all these four kinds of food, he never takes it after sunset. Okay. So here it is without flaws. That is the difference. In this Pratima, everything is without flaws, without blemishes. Okay. No atichar. Taking all the four kinds of food himself and does not ask others to do so. This is again extra. He doesn't do himself, does not ask others to do so, and does not give his assent for such intelligence. Means he also does not applaud also if someone is doing it. Okay. Krat, Karit, Anumodna. Anumodna is applaud, and Krat is doing himself. Karit means asking others to do. So he refrains from doing it at all the 9 levels. Mind, speech and body. Man, Vachan, Kai, 3 and into 3. Krat, Karit, Anumodna. Doing himself, does not ask others to do, and does not give his assent for such indulgence or applaud. Okay. So this is the 4th, 5th and 6th. Now 7th, 8th, 9th and 10th, 4 together. And then we will do the last part. Okay. So time is less. So I am reading it myself. Okay. One more I will give a chance. Soumya ji, you read. 7, 8, 9, 10. Brahmacharya
7.
is step of complete celibacy. Arambha Tyag Pratima, step of initiation, renunciation. Step of initiation, renunciation, or it is also called renunciation of sinful activities. Arambha means sinful activities. Okay. The 9th one name is Parigrah Tyag Pratima, step of renunciation of possessions. The 10th is Anumati Tyag Pratima, step of renunciation of giving advice. Okay. Anumati means advice. Okay. So this is the 10th one.
That means not to give advice.
Yeah, not to. He doesn't give advice also. Because when you give advice also, you are involving in yourself in that, and the corresponding sinful activity that will follow because of your advice, you are also responsible for that. So his awareness has increased because of the internal purity. His awareness has increased, and then he doesn't have this to advise others. So he has got rid of attachment to give advice to others. Okay. So these are all gradual. So 7th one, you start from 7th.
7. Brahmacharya Pratima. His assimilation of the soul having been increased, the holder of the 7th stage has developed more detachment and he follows celibacy throughout day and night with 9 enforcements and does not allow his mind to run away from the resolution. Such a householder is called a great conduct holder. 8. Arambhityar Pratima. The natural purity of this stage is the real Pratima, while indifference towards this world, body, and the pleasures of senses that come by way of lessening of the fury of attachments and the abandoning of external indulgence in householders' affair is the conventional following thereof. More devoted to the pursuit of the soul, he abandons all trade and commerce and other sinful occupation, example, doing written work, fighting, agriculture, and trade of all kinds. 9. Parigrah Tyag Pratima. The real growth of this stage lies in the consequent purity of the soul and the abandoning of all the 10 kinds of possessions, retaining a few necessary articles only, is conventional Pratima. The holder of this Pratima is full of detachments, satisfaction, and equilibrium and other auspicious attributes. 10th. Anumati Tyag Pratima. The purity of demeanor has again developed to a very great extent in the 10th stage, which is real following of the same, while withholding assent in the matter of marriage, trade, and other household entanglements of his own family and friends is the conventional observance. This householder is held in great esteem. So, should I read last one also? Sir,
So
you
you're
are on
on
mute.
mute.
Sorry. So Brahmacharya Pratima, okay. So as his grasping of the soul increases, his concentration power increases, the holder of the seventh stage has developed more detachment and he follows celibacy throughout day and night with 9 enforcement. I've already shared in the group no bad. That is very interesting and it is for our safety. If we observe this, we will be safe. Okay, there is a saying in Hindi that if you अगर आप अगर आप प्रतिज्ञा की रक्षा करोगे तो प्रतिज्ञा आपकी रक्षा करेगा. ठीक है, अगर आप नियम की रक्षा करोगे तो नियम आपकी रक्षा करेगा. So if you are observing this 9 enforcement, then it is a safety net for you. Sita was kidnapped by Ravan because he crossed that safety net. She crossed that safety net. Similarly, this now what are our safety nets? So if we follow this, then we will always be safe. We will not get entangled in any kind of wrongful activity. And does not allow his mind to run away from the resolution. Such a householder is called a great conduct holder. Then Arambh Tyag. Arambh Tyag means renunciation of sinful activities. Okay. So the nature step of renunciation of sinful activities. That is a better name, I suppose. Initially, I told you about step of initiation, renunciation. But because this is better name, step of renunciation of sinful activities. Aram is those activities only, sinful activities. Okay. So the nature of purity of this stage is the real pratima, while indifference towards the world, body, and pleasures of senses that come by way of lessening of their fury of attachments and the abandoning of external indulgence. So this external indulgence is arambha. In householders' affairs is the conventional following thereof. More devoted to the pursuit of the soul, he abandons all trade and commerce and other sinful occupation. Example, doing written work, fighting, agriculture, because all these activities uh, uh, involves some kind of violence. Okay, so when you are taking this kind of woes or conduct, then you are avoiding all those kind of violence. So this is the 8th one. The 9th one is parigrah. Parigrah means possession. Okay. So there are 10 external possession, and then we have 14 internal possessions. So getting rid of these 10 possessions is the Parigrah Tyag Pratima. The holder of this Pratima is full of detachments, satisfaction, and equilibrium, and other auspicious activities. Now he is getting ahead in the spiritual path, so his purity is increasing. And because his purity increasing, other activities takes on its own. So we may perceive that to become a monk is very hard. You have to go to the jungle, and there are wild animals over there in the jungle. But it is not like that. It is all very easy. The internal purity level brings all these things. So it is, there is nothing on your head to observe. Everything gets observed automatically. You just spend your time, energy, whatever resources you have in manifesting purity. Rest will take place on its own. You have nothing on your head to do. Okay. The moment you realize yourself, you realize that you are not a doer of things, you are only an observer. So when you are an observer, how does it matter? Things goes this way or that way. You are only an observer. Okay. So that brings all the things automatically in our life. And having said that, we don't feel any sense of responsibility on our head. It is all happening spontaneously, naturally, without any effort. Okay. So this is the magic of this knowledge. The last one, Anumati Tyag. Okay, Anumati Tyag means giving advice. So giving advice regarding what? Regarding matter of marriage, trade, that means business, and other household entanglements of his own family and friends is the conventional observance. Okay. So the real one is the purity of demeanor, and the conventional one is not giving advice for marriage. इसकी शादी कर लो, इसके साथ अच्छा रहेगा, ये matchmaking. People, generally senior citizens, do all kinds of matchmaking. And I know some people who are seniors, their activity is full-time activities these only, and they don't charge any money, but just they as a social service, they feel that there are certain uh, senior citizens in every community, they involved in this kind of activities. And earlier this was a very favorite pastime activity, but nowadays with the advent of nucleus family, more marriage bureau and matrimony sites and all have come up, so people take help of those. But earlier time, it was all in the community only, and this senior citizen used to recommend and also used to give references that they are good families or bad families, and everything every information about the boy or the girl you will get from those senior people. But nowadays it is very difficult. People are engaging professional, what you call, spies, spies, or there are some agencies, they just do research, private research, and then they recommend you that he goes there, here, he has such companies, he is into such activities, his financial position is such, everything they find out and they let you know, they give you a report, and people pay for that, because now the life has become very complex. You never know what your neighbor is doing. So this Anumati Pyag, he does not give advice also, because his attachment has decreased. He is not interested. You go to hell, whatever you do, you will be like, I'm getting involved in any of this activity. I want to do my own. So this is the level that he has already achieved. Now the last one, Uddist Tyag Pratima. Step of non-consumption of food made for him, or step of renunciation of food specifically made for him. Now this is very important. This is at the 5th stage. So what will happen to monk? Monk doesn't have this kind of food. And this fifth stage of spiritual development, and 11th step in that itself, he is renouncing this kind of food which is specially made for him. That means he goes suddenly, like we have this sadhu, sadhvi, they come suddenly without any information. And if you have whatever you have in the home, they only take that. Okay. So that is called Uddisht Tyag Pratima. If it is specifically made for him, then he will not have.
सर बट आजकल तो जो आहार होते हैं वो महाराज जी के लिए तो बनता है.
हाँ तो महाराज जी के लिए बनता है, so that is wrong, no? That is why the whole tradition has gone wrong, because you are not observing. And why you are not observing? Because your knowledge is not there. You are ignorant about these things. And Maharaj is doing, why Maharaj is doing? Because otherwise they will not get food. Because there are no Shravak who has prepared food for Maharaj. And they, in earlier days, it is used to like this, that there used to be joint family. So a family of 40, 50 people, even if 2, 3 monks come, doesn't make a difference. Everything gets adjusted. But now there are nucleus family, 2, 3 people in the house. And if a Maharaj comes, then if they serve him, then what they will eat. Okay. So in earlier times, people used to stand in front of their house at 10 o'clock in the morning. That is the time the Maharaj used to come, and he used to carry this akdi, that if I get food from if I get food from a person who is bald-headed, who is wearing this, that, these are the kind of akdi that they take. Means these are the rules that they have taken in their mind. And if they get food in that condition only, then only they will accept. Like, Chandana Dasi. So Mahavir Bhagwan had taken this vow that he will take food from a unmarried girl who has done fasting for 3 days, has got shackles in his leg, okay, and who doesn't have hair on her head. So these were the conditions. And Chandana ji was a Masi of Mahavir Bhagwan, and she was in that condition. And that's why Mahavir Bhagwan took food there. So these are the earlier times. The monks were also real, and the Shravaks were also real, and they used to have this feeling that they had this kind of feeling that once I will serve the Muniraj, then only I will have food. So they used to stand outside their house, and if they see any monk, they become happy, and then they go there ki padaro 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 tishta tishta, and then they used to do a prayer on them with 8 substances, and then they used to give them ahar. So that was the tradition. But with rising complexity and the advancement of 5th era, the monks have also deteriorated in terms of following the 28 conduct that they should follow, and the Shravaks have also become like that. So it is like that only. But still, there exists this tradition, and this will go till the end of 5th era. Only thing is that we have to find. And those people will be in kind of jungle only. They cannot be living in towns, So Muniraj also will be, they dwell in jungles only, okay, forest only. And when they come for food, वो जो नगर होते हैं ना, नगर के मतलब स्टार्टिंग पॉइंट पे एक वसतिका होती है जहां मुनिराज आते हैं, and they come there, and from there the Shravak call them to their home, and then they have the food, and then they come back again, get themselves engrossed in the meditation. So that is the real monk. So Uddisht Tyag Pradima. Okay. This
Sir?
is the last. Yeah, Himali, I'll take your question 5 minutes. Just let me
Okay,
finish.
sir. Okay.
Yeah. This is the last stage of the householder development on the path of the spirit. Such a householder is of 2 kinds, Chulak and Elak. Okay. The last one being the higher stage. So Elak is the senior most. After which the householder accepts monkhood. So Elak is the level that when that householder reaches that level, then the next step would be initiating into monkhood. And his all the rules and conduct are almost like Muniraj, but still he is a householder. Now, what is the difference that we will see? The spirit of detachment here is greater than in previous stages, and the stage of detachment comes off and on. Off and on is frequently. So there was again a word off and on. I forgot to correct it. Just do the correction on page number 32. Okay. Fourth line. Second paragraph, fourth line. As such, the experience does not appear OFT. OFT it is written, right? Appear OFT. So there will be O double F. Do that correction. So I just remember again here it is off and on. So now come back to 36 page. Okay. The state of detachment comes off and on. So nirvikalp anubhuti. Okay. It comes frequently and lasts for a longer period. Earlier it was lasting for a short period, but now it is lasting for a longer period because the purity has increased. This internal purity and behavior are the real observance, while the external merit and softness of passion are the conventional, following which induce the follower to abandon food, etc., prepared for his sake. So the attachment has decreased to that level that he doesn't consume food made specifically for him. Okay. They will consume food which is not specifically made for them, and they will come with their akadi, and then if those conditions are met, then only they will take food and will go away. Okay. So such strict are the rules. The follower here develops. Nowadays, Arunji, there are boli for chauka. If you want to do a chauka for a monk, you have to pay money to the mandir. And that runs into lakhs of rupees, you know. The greater the fame of monk, the more is the value of that boli. The follower
सर
here.
बट दैट इज रॉन्ग. सर दैट इज रॉन्ग. करेक्ट. आजकल तो शांति
So
धारा वगैरह हर
why
चीज
it
की
is
बोली
wrong?
लगती है.
Because ki ignorance. The Shravaks are all ignorant and the monks are also ignorant. So you cannot help it. That is the system. And those are in large numbers. We are very few who are doing this kind of studies and understand it all. Our ratio is very less. Total
सर
population,
बट
Jain
सर
is
बट इट इज नॉट इग्नोरेंस. सर दे आर लाइक कि उन्हें भी तो अपना काम चलाना है. लाइक मंदिर में अगर आहार हो रहा है तो उन्हें भी अपना
तो
काम
काम
चलाना है.
चलाना
शांति
क्यों
धारा
है?
हो रही है.
काम चलाना है बिकॉज ऑफ अज्ञानता. सच्चा नॉलेज नहीं है कि खोटा काम करने से तो और पाप बंधेगा, पुण्य भी नहीं बंधेगा. Even not merits also, they will not bind merit also. When you have a wrong intention, then it is all okay. Leave it those. उन लोग को उनके हल पे छोड़ दो, अपन अपना समझते हैं. The follower here develops greater indifference towards the world and the physical aspects of life. The householder, just like a monk at this stage, abjures food prepared for his sake and does so with all his mind, body, and speech, man, vachan, kai, and does not encourage anyone else also to do for his sake. He moves freely, leaving his home and family connection. So, man, vachan, kai, and krit, karit, anumodna. This is called 9. 3 into 3 is at 9 level, 9 koti. In Hindi, we call it as no koti. And in English, I don't know, at ninefold level. Okay. And he moves freely. He moves freely means there are no planning that he will come such and such day here. He moves freely. If he feels like, he will just absorb himself there, he will meditate. Otherwise, if he is hungry and he feel like taking food, he will go and take the meals during appropriate time and again come back and get into meditation. So he is not bound by anybody. He moves freely, leaving his home and family connection. So at this stage, he is left the home also. In fact, the living of home could be starting at seventh level also. Seventh pratima also, you can leave the home, but in the 11th stage, it is compulsorily leaving the home and family connections. So now he is almost like a monk. Okay. So he lives in ashram or along with Muniraj. he keeps on learning from them, and he mentally adjusts to living a monk life, because now the next step would be getting initiated into monkhood. So the practice is going on. The elak leaves all worldly possession except a loin cloth. Loin cloth is langoti. Okay. And water can. So actually it is Pichi Kamandal, but I could not find time to what is Pichi called? Feather, right? The monks have a feather in their hand. So he is only Pichi and Kamandal with him and the loin cloth. While the Chulak still having more attachment because he has at lower level, retains a piece of cloth for covering his body partially apart from loin cloth. So the Chulak has two clothes. One is the langoti and the other for covering his upper body. Gets himself shaved by the barber. So that was the elak does the what is this called? Launch बोलते हैं ना उसको?
Kesh
Lochan.
Lotan.
Case launch. But here he is saved by the barber, the chulak one. Shulak. Actually, it is shulak. And keeps some sort of utensils for taking nails. But he also stops residing at home. Now the last three paragraphs. The monk experiences the bliss of his soul at least within every 48 minutes. Within every 48 minutes, he has to experience the bliss. Atmanubhav hona chahiye. Otherwise, the level of monk will fall. Which is the emblem? Emblem means pratik, chinna, symbol, bhawling, which is the emblem, bhawling of his spiritual development. Okay. And what is this bhawling? Bhawling is the level of passion that has gone off. So ideally, the monks have three levels of passion going off. Only Sanjolan Kasai is left, the fourth level. Okay. The other three levels has gone off, and that is called Bhavling. And if that level of passion has not gone, then he is a Dravyaling, only observing the activities, but not the desired kind of purity that is required for a monk. And the observance of the 28 rules of conduct and the physical activities associated with it are the conventional observance of the monkhood. Likewise, the householder of the fifth grade has concurrent detachment, simultaneous detachment, and spiritual experience, though not so often as in the case of a monk. So monk is having every 48 minutes. The householder in the fifth stage will have once every 15 days. This is the minimum. The maximum could be every day. Okay, depends on your efforts. And for a enlightened soul in the fourth stage, the limit is 6 months. So within 6 months, he should experience himself once. If he doesn't do it, then he falls back onto the first stage. Okay. So these are the rules that is given in Gomat Sar. Okay. Gomat Sar, Karm Kand, these are rules are given. Likewise, the household of the fifth grade has concurrent detachment and spiritual experience, though not so often as in the case of a monk. And that is the real following of the Pratima. While softness of passion as prescribed in the spiritual text for such a holder is the conventional fifth Pratima. Being associated with real growth of the soul, these physical activities are also called conventional Pratimas. Persons having the external acceptance of the condition of this Pratima only will call for bondage due to wrong faith. Okay. So if you are only observing the external conditions, then still you will be binding karmas because of wrong faith. Along with the softness of passion that is there, he will invite married bondage also, by which he becomes entitled to heavenly lives, but cannot end the worldly existence. So first you should have the right faith, then with more practice, you wipe out the second level of passions. That is the fifth stage, you attend the fifth stage. There you have first 12 woes, and then you have this 11 pratimas. Okay. And then you become monk. Without discarding this development of the 11 Patimas is according to the rule of the retention of purity. of the first in the next stage. Okay, so next stage you go, the retention of purity of the first previous one is still there. The purity in the higher stage increases invariably without discarding that is achieved in the previous stage. Holder of the first to the sixth pratimas are the lowest category. Those in the 7th, 8th, and 9th stage are the medium category, while the holders of the 10th and 11th pratimas are the best holders of these. Madhyamvati Shravak, Uttam, Jaganya Shravak, Madhyam Shravak, and Utkrusht Vrati Shravak. So these are the 3 levels. And with this, we end this chapter. It took us a longer, but doesn't matter because we are understanding many things simultaneously along with this chapter.